السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله الحمد لله الأكرم الذي خلق الإنسان وكرم وعلمه من البيان ما لم يعلم. فسبحان الذي لا يحصى امتنانه باللسان ولا بالقلم. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, today my topic is to talk about how we are to continue to be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We will talk about some statistics of your state of Texas when it comes to poverty. We will talk about some of the sunan of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and we will conclude with some points that we could all take home, and inshallah ta'ala bi'ithnillah they will be practical points for everyone, including myself. We need to ask this question: why is it important to reflect? Why is it important to pause our lives and to reflect sometimes? Because we are living our lives in such a pace, at such a pace, that even amongst the bounties of Allah, we are being showered with the mercy of Allah, but then we may easily become ungrateful. And this is the result of living this fast-paced life. Everything needs to be instantaneous. Amazon Prime now, downloading Ookla to see what the down speed is, up speed is. Everything has to be quick. If there's a power outage, why in the world is there a power outage? Like, we get so caught up with the blessings of Allah that we could easily become ungrateful. And this is what I want to talk about today. Is sometimes we just need to pause, reflect, and remind ourselves. Actually remind ourselves and say, Alhamdulillah. Ala kulli hal. Why ala kulli hal? Because it is possible that we're looking up to someone when it comes to dunya, when it comes to worldly possessions. Something as simple as driving a vehicle, the vehicle that you own, lease, etc. You see the next person that has a vehicle that you want, you could easily become ungrateful. Rather, we should be grateful because there are millions of people that live right now that they can't even imagine sitting in a vehicle ever. That they're still using animals as conveyances, etc. So if we don't pause and reflect, it's possible that we become ungrateful. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like this of a servant, that we are ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we are blessed in this country. We are living here. We have so many blessings here that we don't even think about. And we know what our fellow human beings in this ummah are going through right now. For example, the fact that you turn on the tap at home and you get clean, potable water for you to drink with, cook with, etc. Millions of children are unable to get an education because of clean water. Why? Because they have to leave the home with empty utensils, walk for miles. Kids in their neighborhood are going to school. These kids are leaving with empty utensils in the morning. And when their friends are coming back from school, that's when they're coming back with full utensils of water. Clean water. Kids are having to sacrifice education for water. Right? And the list goes on. Look at us. We're sitting on padded carpet. Air-conditioned facility. Right? We are blessed in this country. You go to your local grocery store, you come back, you have to play Tetris again to fit everything in your pantry or in your freezer. So many of us have freezers just because we can't fit all of the udhiyya or qurbani meat that came in from last year, for example. We have to play Tetris. How do I fit this box here? Subhanallah. Think about this. If we don't bring groceries into our homes, I could say for myself that I could survive for at least 3 weeks. My household. There's enough nutrition in the house right now that if I don't bring in groceries, I could survive for at least 3 weeks. As long as I have clean running water, I could cook all the lentils, the rice, and all the spices, make something happen. But there are millions of people that are not able to make that happen. So it is important for us to count our blessings. See, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using this word, عَدَّ يُعُدُّ, this verb, عُدْ, count. Allah is telling us, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا, if you were to count my blessings. He did not say, وَإِن تَشْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ. We cannot even count how much we have, let alone appreciate Allah. You could only appreciate what we have once we know what we have. Since we don't know, think about it, behind every bounty, there are millions of other bounties. And behind each of those bounties is another bounty. This is our Allah. This is how blessed we are. Which is why it's so important for us to sometimes pause and to reflect. And to develop this habit to do so. Ourselves, our families, our children, our loved ones. To develop this habit. If I'm complaining about something not going my way in my life, get a hold of yourself. Yasir, what are you doing? You are being ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We talk about poverty at a global scale. There are millions of people that are living on less than $2 a day. Millions of people throughout the world. And I just gave the example a few minutes ago that there are millions of children that are unable to have access to education because of lack of clean, potable water for that they could use in their homes. That's at a global scale. Let's talk about statistics of your state, Texas. Right? It is believed, according to the census of 2017, it is understood that approximately 13% of the population in the state of Texas is living under the poverty line. 13%. 13.02 to be exact, according to the census of 2017. State of Texas. What is poverty? What is the definition of poverty? For a person not to have access to the basic needs of life. A person who may not have food security, a person may not have a place to stay, a person may not have enough clothing to put on their back, etc. This is the threshold of poverty. You have around 10.5 million Hispanics in Texas. 23% of them are living in poverty. The highest category. The ethnicity that's facing poverty the most. 23%. 2.4 million Hispanics in Texas are living under the poverty line. Then you have approximately 12 million white Texans and little over a million, 8.84% are living under the poverty line. Then you have African Americans, little over 3 million African Americans living in Texas. 21% of the African American population in Texas is living under the poverty line, and the list goes on and on and on. The point is, why am I sharing these statistics? For us to realize and recognize that just because I may be blessed with everything that I have in my life does not mean that my neighbor is also living that kind of lifestyle as well. In Texas, I'm not giving you figures of the entire world or like the southern United States or any other state. No. Think about it. 13% of your population is living with poverty. And those of us that have savings, Allah knows how much, mashallah, whatever income that we have through our practice, through our businesses, through whatever, it's not the same for everyone else. And this is a challenge that we have in the Muslim community, where there's this lack of connection between the wealthy and the impoverished. I'm generalizing throughout the country. I'm not standing here judging anyone. Based on my little experience, there's this disconnect. You have folks, mashallah, that are well off, are unaware of the impoverished in the community. And then you also have the impoverished in the community. They're living in their own world, in the same city. It's so strange to see. You go to a city, it's like two worlds based on your perspective. From your vantage point, you see this world of people living under the poverty line. And then you see another world from another perspective in the same city. People are, mashallah, living as if MashaAllah, like blessed. So this brings us to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When we talk about the sunnah, when I mention the word sunnah, this term sunnah to you, what are the type of things that come to my mind? I'll tell you what comes to my mind. When someone says sunnah to me, I think of wearing my clothes on Jummah, for example, right? Having dessert after a meal, using itr or perfume, using miswak. In other words, all of the sweet things, all of the clean things that are within my nafs, within my desires, I wholeheartedly hold close to my heart, and mashallah, I am implementing the sunnah. Mashallah. And we have the love for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that when we hear of a sunnah, we do try to bring into our lives. But my dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, I want us to draw our attention towards a very powerful sunnah that more Muslims need to bring into their lives. See, we know of the different things Rasulullah went through in his life. He would be restless at night for his ummah. He would cry for his ummah. He would have concern for his ummah. He would wish that every human being after him would enter Jannah. This concern of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, feeling the pain for the people, is a sunnah. And this is a sunnah that I need to bring into my life, and all of us collectively need to bring more of into our lives. The sunnah of empathy. To be an empathic person. To feel the pain someone is going through. When Rasulullah ﷺ used to see someone who did not say the kalima, what was his kayfiyah? How he used to feel. Restless. Crying for the ummah. Out of concern that what is going to happen to my ummah. Let's ask ourselves, did I cry for the ummah in my life? I've cried for my own problems. I've cried for everything else that I have going on in my life. But have I cried for the ummah? That, oh Allah, your ummah, what is happening? Where is the youth going? As the Shaykh in the first khutbah was talking about, the youth. Right? You have refugees that are displaced throughout the world. You have Kashmir, you have Palestine, you have all of these different things that are taking place throughout the world. Oh Allah, what's happening with the ummah? Oh Allah, there are millions of Americans, human beings in America right now that are unaccounted for, because there's no data out there to correctly, to accurately tell you how many homeless people are out there. Because there's just simply no way. How can you count someone who's not there? It's like, counties, different counties throughout the country, they send out teams on the ground, they do surveys to get an idea. But all of these different things that are happening in the Muslim ummah, have I cried for the ummah? Like how I have cried for my own problems? If I have, alhamdulillah. If I have not, then I need to work on that one. I need to add that one more sunnah in my life. Having that quality of empathy for the people around me. And for me not to be so disconnected with what's happening around me that I become judgmental. So the question is now, what can I do? What is it that I can do to do my part? So number one, as I mentioned earlier, is develop the habit of pausing and thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you're driving from point A to point B for a business meeting, from work to work, picking up kids from school, just develop this habit. Just snap out of it and make some zikr. Recite some Quran. Like literally thank Allah. And say, oh Allah, I appreciate you for everything that you have done for me. Why? لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, if you appreciate, I will increase in my bounties. Number one. Number two, refrain from israf. Refrain from israf, from wasting. Some statistics show that approximately 40% of our food goes to waste in the United States. 40% of food goes to waste. I should start myself. It's something as simple as the sunnah. When I dish out something, finish it. Don't throw half the plate of food away. Right? If I'm responsible at some function and there's food left over, don't throw it away. Find a way to have that food get to someone. And that's only food. I'm talking about everything else. Let's not spend money where we don't need to. Yes, we spend money where we need to. Education, health, everything, family, all of those things come in place. But what Allah does not like, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. Allah does not love those that waste, that are extravagant. Number three, get involved in local efforts. Get involved in local efforts. It is not until you go into a home and you see the living conditions of the people yourself, and you take your teenagers with you, they won't complain again. I could almost write this down and give it to you. Like Varna Pese Vapas, right? Is when you have a teenager that witnesses someone struggling, they're not going to complain again. So many teenagers have changed their lives because of that. Like 5 minutes away from their home, they find another teenager who doesn't have a fraction of what this person is blessed with. Get involved with local efforts. Why? Because this will allow us to develop empathy for people. When there's a drive, when there's a refugee drive, when there's a food drive, yes, mashallah, we do donate. We do swipe the card, write a check, give cash, mashallah. But get involved in the process yourself to see what people are going through. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما وقال تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون أقول قولي هذا واستغفره من كل ذنب إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم واخشوا يوما لا يجزي والد عن ولده ولا مولود هو جاز عن والده شيئا إن وعد الله حق فلا تغرنكم الحياة الدنيا ولا يغرنكم بالله الغرور إن الله عنده علم الساعة وينزل الغيث ويعلم ما في الأرحام وما تدري نفس ماذا تكسب غدا وما تدري نفس بأي أرض تموت إن الله عليم خبير وقال النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم الكيس من دان نفسه وعمل لما بعد الموت والعاجز من أتبع نفسه هواها وتمنى على الله أقول قولي هذا واستغفروه من كل ذنب إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة